Right, so welcome to the podcast today. And in this series, we are going to look at financial accounting, introduction to financial accounting, sharing our thoughts and discussing various issues you must understand about financial accounting. Now, the key question we need to ask is, who is this for? This is for anybody who is seeking to learn some introductory issues in accounting. If you are writing the ICAG financial accounting paper, this is going to be a great exposure for you to have some understanding in respect of how financial accounting works. This is also structured to help small business owners to understand various terminologies, concepts, and how you can keep some basic books as you have started your business before you begin to employ professionals to help you in some of the things that you need to do. Because one of the things you need to understand is that you need to have some knowledge about how things are supposed to work and how things are done in the financial statement so that when the professional is explaining or saying something, you have an understanding as well of it. So this is the purpose of this particular series, and we are going to be covering as much as possible so that we explain the various things you must understand when it comes to financial accounting. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what is financial accounting? Now, in a simple language, I'm going to define financial accounting, and each of the key terminologies in the definition will be what our discussion will be based on during the series. And so, for one-liner definition purposes, we say that financial accounting is the process of collecting, so that is the first key term, recording, the second, classifying, summarizing of financial transaction, and preparation and presentation of financial statement to the understanding of third parties to enhance economic decision. So let's take it again. Financial accounting is the process of collecting, recording, classifying, summarizing of financial transactions, and preparing and presentation of financial statement to the understanding of third parties to enhance economic decision. So this is your book definition for financial accounting. The reason why this definition is important is because, as I mentioned, each of those key terminologies will be expanded on throughout the series. So the first terminology there is collecting. The second one is recording. The third one is classifying. The fourth one is summarizing. The fifth one is preparation and presentation. The sixth one is financial statement. The seventh one is third parties, and then the eighth thing is economic decision. So each of these terms will be helping us throughout the discussion. So let's begin the journey and start with collection, or if you want, collecting. Now, in accounting, we don't just jump and begin to record things. So you don't just jump and say, okay, let's go record this in the books. Let's go record this. No, you don't just jump to record things. So the first thing we do in accounting is to collect information. Where do we collect information from? We collect information from what is referred to as source document. The reason is because in accounting, you cannot just get up and just record something in your books. You must have a source document, meaning an evidence for it. If it is a revenue item, an expenditure item, whatever it is, there must be a source document. See the source document as a proof for the item that you want to record in the financial statement. So it is like you go to court. Whatever your case is, whether you are the plaintiff or you are the defendant or whatever it is, you go before the judge, you have to present an evidence. So you cannot just go to court and say that, oh, this person has done this to me, this person has done that to me, without what? A proof, without an evidence. The same thing happened in accounting. You don't just get up and enter something in your books without having an evidence to support what you want to enter. So the collection of information is from source documents. So that is the first thing. Financial accountants or accountants use source document to get the information needed, which will then be recorded. So what are the types of source document that you need to know about? There are various types of source documents that you need to know about. We have what we call cash memo. That's the first one. Number two is the invoice and bills. So you go and buy something, you receive an invoice. That becomes a source document, so you can use it to record a transaction. Or you receive a bill for it. That bill becomes a source document that you can use. A receipt can also be a source document. Paying slip can be a source document. Checks also serve as a source document. Debit note and credit note also serve as a source document. Now, we're going to explain or expand the concept of debit and credit note and some of these things later on in the discussion. Then vouchers can also be example of source documents. Now, a voucher is simply prepared, a document prepared for the purpose of recording business transactions in the books of account. That is what a voucher is. So, what are we saying? The accountant doesn't just get up and record things. The accountant need evidence, need information before he can record or she can record. Where does the accountant get the information from? Is the source document. What are some of examples of source documents? Debit notes, credit notes, cash memo, vouchers, payslip, invoices, receipts. All these are examples of source documents. So that is the first thing we must understand about financial accounting. Now, once we collect the information, we go to the next step, and that is recording. Now, in financial accounting, the first place we record transaction is the day books, also known as the books of prime entry, or also referred to as books of original entry. So recordings of transactions occur in the day books. And we have some types of day books that you must understand. The first one is the sales day book. The sales day book is the book in which credit sales are recorded. So again, the example I gave earlier, you sell, I buy from you. So when I come and buy on credit from you, you are going to issue an invoice to me, right? Now, the invoice you gave me becomes your source document, and in your books, you will record the sales you made to me on credit in your sales day book. Now, since I bought on credit from you, the same invoice or receipt you gave me will become a source document in my books as well. Then I will record what I bought on credit from you in the purchases day books. Do you get the idea? Now, so we are talking about goods here. Okay, so you sell water, then I come and buy water from you on credit. In your books, you record that transaction first in the sales day book. In my books, I'll record that transaction first in the purchases day book. So the sales day book is for credit sales. Purchases day book is for credit purchases. Then we go to the sales returns day book. The sales returns or the return inwards day book is a day book used to record return of goods sold on credit. So again, you are the seller, I am the buyer. If you sell to me on credit, and the example I gave earlier, I realized that, some of the things you sold to me, I didn't need it, or they were not to the standard I expected. Then I send them back to you. I am sending the things back to you. In my books, I will refer to that as purchases returns or returns outwards. Purchases returns or returns outwards. Then in your books, when you receive the goods that I am sending back to you, that will be called return inwards or sales returns. You get the idea? So let's catch the principle again. When you sell to me on credit in your books, you will record it in the sales day book. I buy from you on credit in my books, it will be purchases day book because I'm the buyer, you are the seller. If I sent back some of the things I purchased from you in my books, that will be referred to as returns outwards. In your books, that will be referred to as returns inwards. Then we have the cash book. Now, the cash book is also a day book and a ledger, and we'll expand on this discussion as well as we proceed. But the cash book is a day book as well as a ledger, and this records both cash and bank transactions that are occurring. So if I pay you any amount of money, it goes first in the cash book. If you are spending some money or paying for anything as well, it goes to the cash book. And we'll look at the cash book in a moment. It has a debit side and a credit side, and we're going to look at it. Then we have the petty cash book. Now, you see, the main cash book is for recording your big transactions. But there are some times where your business undertakes small transactions routinely. So, for instance, maybe you buy water, the refuse collectors will come and they will collect the refuse, and some few other expenses that you make, small expenses. Those kind of expenses will be usually recorded in what is called a petty cash book. And so there will be a petty cash system that will be kept so that regularly, maybe once a month, you will reimburse. So maybe you put maybe 200 cedis somewhere. And so that 200 cedis become your petty cash balance. So that the refuse guys that you're going to pay, that will come from the 200 Ghana cedis. It will come from that 200 cedis, depending on your size of business at the end of the day. So that is called petty cash book. And the purpose of that is to record small cash transactions. Then the last one will be the journal. Now, the journal is a day book that is used to record all transactions that cannot be recorded in any of the day books that we have mentioned. So we've spoken about sales day book for recording credit sales, purchases day book for recording credit purchases, return inwards day book for recording goods sold on credit that are returned or return of goods sold on credit. Then return outwards day book, that is goods purchased on credits that are returned to the supplier. Cash book for recording the cash and bank transactions that are occurring for the period. The petty cash book for recording small cash transactions. Then the journal is to record any other transaction that cannot fall or that will not fall into those other day books that we have mentioned. So for instance, when it comes to the opening balances of the entity, normally we will record that in the journal from one period to the other. So these are the day books where first transactions occur. So remember, we collect the information from the source document. Number two, we record the transaction first in the day books. Now, once transactions are recorded, we now go to the third step, and that is called classifying. So remember, we said financial accounting refers to the process of collecting source document, recording day books, classifying. Transactions are classified into what is referred to as ledgers. Okay, so what is a ledger? In a simple language, we say that a ledger is a principal book of accounts into which all other accounts are kept. So you want to see the ledger as the umbrella under which various accounts relating to a similar item will be kept. So let me give you an example. One example of the ledger is called the sales ledger, or what is called the trade receivables ledger, or what is called the debtors ledger. So sales ledger, receivables ledger, or debtors ledger. By now, you know that debtors means people who are buying from us on credit, right? So all the customers who are buying from us on credit, their information will be recorded in the sales ledger or the trade receivables ledger. Are you getting it? So when we come to the sales ledger, we will have the account for customer A. We'll have the account for customer B. We'll have the account for customer C. We'll have the account for customer D. That is called the sales or debtors or trade receivables ledger. Then we come to trade payables or purchases or the suppliers ledger, the reverse, right? So here, all the suppliers we buy from on credit, their information will be recorded in the purchases ledger. So anything that relates to the suppliers that we buy from on credit will be recorded in the purchases ledger. Now, the way this works is that, and we'll get into this as well later in the discussion, but all debtors keep a debit balance. So all the people who are buying from us on credit, they will keep a debit balance. Then all creditors also keep credit balance. Now, what is the meaning of debit and credit? Because it's one of the things you must understand. The golden rule in accounting by Raluca Pacioli is that every accounting transaction must be entered into account. A debit entry must have a corresponding credit entry, and a credit entry must have a corresponding debit entry. That is the double entry principle in accounting. So in accounting, you cannot say I am entering a transaction in a book and you are just entering it in one account. It has to be in two accounts. So for the debtors, all debtors keep debit balance. What does that mean? It means that anything that increases how much they owe us will come on the debit side. When we do the T accounts, it will come on the debit side. meaning that anything that increases their balance will come on the debit side. Then anything that reduces their balance will come on the credit side. And we're going to discuss more of this later on, but that is the whole idea. So if they come and buy goods on credit, we will debit their account and credit our sales account. If they, for some reason, the time that they are supposed to pay us has elapsed, and per the contract, we are supposed to charge them any interest on it, that means how much they owe us will go up. So that interest we are going to charge on them, we are going to charge on the account, will be debited to the account and credited to the financial statement, that is the statement of profit or loss. We'll get into that as well later as we proceed in the series at the end of the day, because that becomes an interest receivable for us. Then if they come and pay us some money, guess what? We just got some money. So what will be the double entry? We will debit our cash book because we've received money. Then we'll credit the accounts of the customers because how much they owe us is now reducing. If they send us some of the goods that they have bought on credit, then it means the amount they owe us has reduced. So what do? We'll credit their account again. That is why return inwards, we are going to be debiting the return inwards and crediting the customer's account or the debtor's account. Again, we will expand on all of these as we proceed with the series, but just KG2 understanding, debtors have debit balance. So anything that increases the debtor's balance will come on the debit side, on the left side if we do a T account. And then anything that reduces the debtor's balance will come to the credit side of the T account. The reverse of that is what happens in the purchases account, our suppliers account. So for our suppliers, we owe them. So liabilities also keeps credit balance. All liabilities keep credit balance. So our suppliers are our creditors. We owe them. And so liability has a credit balance. So anything that increases the amount we owe to the suppliers, we will credit their accounts in our books. Anything that reduces how much we owe the suppliers, we will debit their account in our books. So that is the idea about what you must understand in respect of what goes on. So the account that it contains information about all our debtors is the sales ledger. The account that contains the individual account of all our creditors is the purchases ledger. Then we come to the general ledger. So we have the sales ledger, the purchases ledger. Then we come to the general ledger. The general ledger is a ledger that is used to record the accounts of all other transactions that cannot be entered in the sales ledger because they are not about our customers. That cannot be recorded in the purchases ledger because they are not about our suppliers. That cannot be recorded only in the cash book because remember in the beginning or earlier I told you that the cash book is both a day book as well as a ledger. So the general ledger will take care of all of those accounts. So for instance, electricity expenses and other utility expenses will come in the general ledger. All right. Assets we buy will come in the general ledger. So these are the things you must understand when we talk about classification. So financial accounting is the process of collecting. Where do we collect the information from? Source document. 2 is recording. Where do we first record transactions? In the day books. 3, classifying. Where do we classify transactions? In the ledger. And that is where we've spoken about the sales ledger, the purchase ledger, the general ledger, and then the cash book as well as a ledger.